No contact is one of the most powerful moves a man can make in the modern dating world. But it's also one of the hardest. When you cut communication with a woman, especially after things get messy, confusing, or one-sided, you're not just stepping away from her, you're stepping into your own strength. And that shift changes everything. Here's the reality. Most men destroy their chances with women by overreaching. They text nonstop, they beg for attention, they try to force conversations when she's already pulled away. What they don't realize is that this constant chasing kills attraction. It sends the message that she holds all the power and you're just trying to earn a piece of it. That's why no contact works so deeply. It flips that power dynamic. The psychology behind no contact is simple, but brutal. When you stop giving her access to your energy, she feels it. She notices the silence. She starts to question why you're not chasing like every other man. That silence plants doubt in her mind. Did I lose him? Has he moved on? Why isn't he reacting like others do? This isn't manipulation, it's human psychology. People value what they can't easily have. When you step back, you force her to confront the space you leave behind. But here's where the dark side comes in. No contact isn't just about making her miss you. It's about shifting the entire frame of the relationship. Instead of proving your worth, you're showing that your worth doesn't depend on her attention. That difference is what separates strong men from needy ones. In this video, I'll break down the dark psychology of no contact in 7 parts. If you stay with me, you'll learn exactly why it works, how it rewires her mind, and how it builds your strength as a man. 1. Silence creates curiosity. The first psychological trigger behind no contact is silence. Most men underestimate how powerful silence really is. In a world where everyone is constantly connected, always checking their phones, and constantly chasing validation, silence stands out. When you cut communication with a woman, you immediately break the pattern she's used to. Instead of giving her the steady stream of attention she expects, you leave a gap. And that gap creates curiosity. At first, she may not even notice. If she's distracted, busy, or feeling like she has the upper hand, your silence might feel irrelevant. But as time passes, the silence starts to weigh on her. She opens her phone, expecting your name to pop up. It doesn't. She scrolls through her notifications, realizing there's nothing from you. That absence forces her to think. Why hasn't he reached out? Did I misread his interest? Is he done with me? The questions start piling up, and curiosity turns into a form of tension. This tension is what makes silence such a powerful weapon. Women are used to being pursued. They're used to men filling their inboxes, calling nonstop, and trying to break down their walls. When you do the opposite, it separates you from the crowd. You're no longer just another guy chasing her. You become the one she can't quite figure out. And the human mind always obsesses more over uncertainty than over certainty. Silence also triggers something deeper. It puts you back in control. Instead of letting her dictate when and how you connect, you remove yourself completely. That simple act flips the frame. You're no longer the one seeking attention. You're the one creating space and letting her deal with it. And that shift makes her curiosity grow stronger. The mistake many men make is breaking the silence too soon. They get uncomfortable with the gap, so they reach out, hoping to spark her interest. But when you break no contact too early, you lose all the tension you've built. You show her that your silence was just an act, not a true display of self-control. That's why no contact only works when you commit fully. Silence only has power if you can hold it long enough for her to feel it. Here's the truth. Curiosity is one of the strongest forces in human psychology. When someone can't figure you out, you take up more space in their mind than if you were constantly available. Your silence makes her wonder. That wondering makes her think of you. And those thoughts bring her back to you more powerfully than any text ever could. So understand this. Silence isn't weakness. Silence is strategy. It's the first step in showing her that you're not just another man handing over his attention for free. You're a man who can walk away, stay silent, and let her curiosity do the work. 2. Absence shifts power. The second force behind the dark psychology of no contact is absence. When you step back and disappear from her world, you shift the balance of power between you and her in a way that words never could. Think about it. When you're always available, always texting back instantly, always chasing, you're communicating one thing, that she is the center of your world. That gives her the upper hand. She feels secure knowing that no matter what she does, you'll still be there. And security like that, while comfortable, kills attraction. Why? Because it removes all urgency. If she knows you'll never leave, she has no reason to value your presence. Absence changes that dynamic instantly. When you go no contact, you stop feeding her the attention she's been used to. The little hits of validation she got from your texts, your compliments, or your efforts suddenly vanish. At first, she may brush it off, thinking she doesn't need it. But as days pass, that missing energy becomes noticeable. The man who once filled her notifications isn't there anymore. The presence she once took for granted has turned into absence, and absence always amplifies value. Psychology teaches us that people don't usually value what they have constant access to. They value what can be taken away. That's why absence feels so heavy. It forces her to reflect on your worth because she's no longer distracted by your constant presence. Instead of you chasing her, she starts asking herself, what if he really moved on? What if I don't hear from him again? What if another woman has his attention now? Those thoughts sting, and that sting shifts the power. But here's the key. This only works if your absence is complete. Half-hearted. No contact, where you still watch her stories, like her posts, or send the occasional just checking in message, kills the effect. True absence means removing yourself from her world so she can actually feel what life is like without you in it. That's when the psychology kicks in. For men, this is where discipline is tested. Most guys can't handle absence. They panic. They fear losing her forever, so they break no contact and crawl back. That reaction tells her she still holds the power. But the man who can stay absent, who can hold his ground without cracking, flips the script. He proves that he's not dependent on her, and that realization forces her to see him in a new light. Here's the bottom line. Absence is leverage. It's the unspoken reminder that you're not afraid to walk away, that your world doesn't revolve around her. And once she feels the weight of your absence, the dynamic between you shifts. You're no longer the man trying to earn her attention. You're the man she's trying not to lose. Third, scarcity fuels value. The third layer of the dark psychology of no contact is scarcity. Human beings are wired to value what is rare and to overlook what is abundant. The more accessible something is, the less we feel the need to treasure it. That's exactly why most men lose their power in dating. They give unlimited access to their time, energy, and attention. There's no scarcity, so there's no urgency for her to appreciate it. When you go no contact, you flip that script. Your attention suddenly becomes scarce. Your presence, once guaranteed, is now uncertain. That shift makes her feel the weight of your value in ways she never did before. What was once ordinary becomes special. The man she thought would always be there is no longer so predictable. And that unpredictability makes her think harder about what she's losing. Scarcity works because it forces comparison. When you're gone, she begins to notice the difference between how she felt with your presence and how she feels without it. She might start interacting with other men, but those interactions don't hit the same way. Why? Because she realizes not everyone can match the way you made her feel. That's when the scarcity of you becomes undeniable. This is the same principle that drives demand in every area of life. Rare items are valued higher than common ones. A limited edition watch costs more than a mass-produced one. Why? Scarcity. Your attention operates on the same law. If you give it away endlessly, it loses its weight. If you make it rare, it skyrockets in value. The mistake most men make is trying to create value by doing more. They think constant effort will prove their worth, but effort without scarcity leads to oversupply. She has no reason to value it because it's always available. The truth is, women don't fall for men because of constant attention. They fall for men whose attention feels earned. That's why no contact is so powerful. It removes the oversupply of your energy. It forces her to notice the difference between abundance and absence. And in that space, she starts to rethink everything. She remembers the little things you did. She replays conversations in her mind. She starts to feel the craving that only scarcity creates. Here's the hard truth. Value isn't declared, it's demonstrated. You can tell a woman you're high value all day, but if your actions show that you'll give her endless access, no matter how she treats you, your words mean nothing. When you go silent, when you step back, when you make your attention rare, that's when your value speaks for itself. Scarcity changes how she sees you because it forces her to feel your absence. And the longer you hold it, the more she realizes that what she thought was ordinary is actually extraordinary. That realization is what makes her chase. Fourth, space builds tension. The fourth power of no contact lies in the space it creates. Space is uncomfortable, and that discomfort builds tension. Most men try to relieve tension as soon as it appears. They can't handle silence, unanswered texts, or distance, so they rush in to fill the gap. What they don't realize is that tension is exactly what keeps attraction alive. Without it, everything feels flat. When you go no contact, you allow space to exist between you and her. That space forces her to deal with the unanswered questions. She wonders what you're doing, who you're with, and whether you're thinking of her. Those unanswered questions build a mental tension she can't ignore. Instead of you chasing her, her own mind starts chasing the answers. This tension is powerful because it stirs emotion. Attraction isn't logical, it's emotional. And emotions grow stronger in uncertainty. When she doesn't know where she stands with you, when she can't predict your next move, the tension amplifies her feelings. That's why the quiet of no contact often feels louder than constant communication. Silence makes her feel more than words ever could. But here's the catch. This only works if you hold the space without breaking it. The moment you give in, sending that just checking in text, liking her posts, or trying to explain yourself, you release the tension. You give her the comfort of certainty again. And certainty kills the pull she was starting to feel. Men often misunderstand this and think creating tension means playing games. It doesn't. It's not about manipulation. It's about discipline. It's about stepping back, giving her room, and letting her own emotions rise to the surface. When you don't rush in to ease her doubts, those doubts grow. And in that growth, she feels the tension that pulls her closer. Another reason space is powerful is because it gives contrast. Think about it. Constant closeness dulls the edge of attraction. When she sees you, hears from you, and feels you around all the time, there's no room for longing. But when you pull back, you create distance. And in that distance, she starts to crave the connection she once had. Tension also works in your favor as a man. The space gives you clarity. Instead of obsessing over her, you focus on yourself, your growth, your goals, your discipline. That shift makes you even more attractive. By the time she feels the tension enough to reach out, you're stronger than when you left. That difference only magnifies the effect when she comes back. Here's the truth. Tension is not the enemy. Tension is the fuel of attraction. By creating space, you let that tension build naturally inside her. The longer you can hold it, the more powerful it becomes. And when she finally breaks and reaches out, it won't be because you chased her. It'll be because the tension you created became too strong for her to ignore. 5. Control through discipline. No contact is not a trick. It's not a game you play for a week and then give up on when you feel lonely. It's a test of your discipline as a man. The entire strategy lives or dies on your ability to control yourself, not her. The truth is, most men fail here. They set out saying they'll hold the line, but the moment they feel that wave of anxiety or miss her voice, they cave. And every time they cave, they lose a piece of their power. Control through discipline means you decide who you are, and you refuse to let emotions break that. Think about it. If she ignores you and you rush back to beg for attention, you've shown her that your emotions control you. That's weakness. But if you can stay calm, even when you want to reach out, you show her, and yourself, that you're not ruled by impulse. That's strength. Women respond to discipline because it's rare. They meet countless men who can't handle silence, can't handle rejection, and can't handle waiting. When you're different, when you have the patience and control to stick to no contact without cracking, you stand out. Your calmness speaks louder than any desperate text could. Now, here's the darker side of it. Discipline shifts control back to you. Right now, if she's ignoring you, she holds the power. She decides when to reply, when to show interest, when to step close, and when to pull back. But when you cut contact and stay disciplined, you flip that balance. Suddenly, she doesn't get to measure your attention. She doesn't know when you'll show up again, or if you ever will. That uncertainty puts her in the weaker position. Control through discipline also reshapes your mindset. Instead of obsessing over her, you use the silence to build yourself. You focus on the gym, your money, your goals, your peace. Every day you hold the line, you get stronger. By the time she reaches out, or even if she never does, you've leveled up. That's the hidden benefit. No contact isn't just about her. It's about you regaining your self-respect. Another piece of discipline is consistency. Don't go cold for 3 days, then break down and send a long message. That inconsistency kills the effect. Either you commit or you don't. A woman can smell weakness in inconsistency. One moment of collapse shows her that your discipline was only an act, but real control is steady, calm, and unshakable. Discipline also creates mystery. Think about it. If she expects you to text, call, or double back every time, there's no mystery left. She knows exactly how to pull your strings, but when you go silent and stay silent, she can't predict you anymore. That unpredictability is magnetic. It keeps her guessing. It keeps her attention locked on you. Men often think attraction is about doing more, buying gifts, sending paragraphs, proving yourself. But in reality, attraction often grows when you don't do what every other man does. Discipline is rare. Silence is rare. Restraint is rare. And when you have those traits, you stand apart from the noise. Remember this. Control through discipline is not easy, but it's everything. It's what separates the men who fold under pressure from the men who rise above it. She may never admit it, but women respect the man who doesn't flinch, who doesn't break, and who doesn't need constant validation. That man earns her curiosity, her respect, and eventually her attention. 6. Reversal of power. One of the most overlooked effects of no contact is how it completely flips the power dynamic. When a woman pulls away, ignores your calls, or starts giving you less effort, she's the one in control. She dictates when you get attention, how much of it you receive, and how invested you feel. Most men don't realize that chasing harder in this moment only locks them deeper into her frame. The more you try to close the gap, the more she controls the pace. But when you go no contact, the entire game changes. You stop playing by her rules. You take your attention away, and with it, you remove her ability to control the interaction. Suddenly, she can't measure your reactions anymore. She can't test how quickly you'll respond or how desperate you are for her presence. That silence shakes her sense of power because attention is currency, and you just stopped paying her with it. This is where the psychology gets dark. Humans naturally want what they feel slipping away. The same woman who acted distant when you were chasing suddenly feels the loss when you step back. At first, she may act like it doesn't matter. She may even double down, pretending she's unaffected. But as the silence grows, she starts to feel the shift. She realizes she's no longer the one being pursued. Now she's the one left wondering. That reversal of power pulls her back toward you. It's not about making her jealous or trying to teach her a lesson. It's deeper than that. It's about rebalancing the dynamic so you're not the one constantly giving and she's not the one constantly deciding. When she feels the reversal, she starts to respect your value again. Respect is critical because without it, no amount of chasing or proving yourself will work. Reversal of power also exposes her real interest. If she truly doesn't care, she'll let you go. That's fine. You don't want a woman who's indifferent to your absence. But if she does value you, the silence will push her to act. She'll reach out. She'll test the waters. She'll try to regain the control she lost when you stopped feeding her attention. That's when you'll know the power has shifted. For you, this reversal is more than just a dating tactic. It's a lesson in self-respect. You learn that your time and energy are valuable. You learn that not every woman deserves unlimited access to you. And you learn that sometimes the strongest move is to step back, not lean in. That's what changes the dynamic permanently. Most men never experience this because they can't handle the silence long enough. They fold under the weight of missing her and run right back into her frame. But the man who can hold steady and let the reversal happen puts himself in a position of strength. He's no longer reacting. He's choosing. This is the essence of no contact. It's not punishment. It's not revenge. It's a recalibration of power. And once it flips, everything changes. She feels the loss. She feels the uncertainty. And most importantly, she feels your value. 7. The ultimate outcome. No contact always leads to one of two outcomes, and both serve you. Either she comes back, pulled by the tension, the mystery, and the realization of your value, or she doesn't, and you free yourself from wasting time on a woman who was never truly invested. That's the ultimate power of this strategy. You win regardless of her decision. If she comes back, she doesn't just drift back casually. She returns with renewed curiosity, respect, and often stronger attraction. Why? Because the silence forced her to reflect. In the absence of your constant attention, she had no choice but to feel what life was like without you. Most men never give women that space. They smother, they push, they chase. But when you do the opposite, it shocks her. It makes her wonder if she misjudged you. That spark of doubt is often enough to reignite her desire. But here's the key. When she returns, you don't go back to being the same man she pushed away. You stay grounded. You don't throw away your frame for the sake of her attention. If you do, you'll repeat the same cycle, and she'll lose respect again. The men who benefit most from no contact are the ones who use that time to grow. They hit the gym harder, chase their goals with focus, and level up their confidence. So when she does come back, she's met with a stronger, more disciplined version of the man she once knew. That contrast is what keeps her hooked this time. Now, if she doesn't come back, it may sting at first, but it's actually the best outcome. You don't waste months or years chasing a woman who was never serious about you. No contact reveals the truth quickly. It cuts through the games, the half-efforts, and the mixed signals. If she vanishes completely, that silence is her answer. And instead of clinging to false hope, you walk away with your pride intact and your time preserved. The ultimate outcome, then, isn't just about getting her back or losing her. It's about what happens to you during the process. You learn patience. You learn discipline. You learn that your attention is valuable and not everyone deserves it. You stop seeing yourself as someone who has to beg for connection and start seeing yourself as the prize. That shift changes the way you deal with women forever. No contact works because it puts you in alignment with reality. A woman who truly values you will feel your absence and act on it. A woman who doesn't will drift away. Either way, you're left in a stronger position, free from the endless cycle of chasing and guessing. So, the ultimate outcome isn't just about her. It's about you becoming a man who doesn't collapse under pressure, who doesn't hand over his power, and who refuses to lower his value just to keep someone around. That transformation is what makes no contact so effective, and it's why, in the end, you never lose by using it. No contact is not about tricks or revenge. It's about strength, discipline, and clarity. When you hold the line, you force her to feel your absence, and you regain control over yourself. If she comes back, it's because she felt the loss. If she doesn't, you've saved yourself from chasing someone who never truly valued you. Either way, you win. The man who can stay calm in silence proves he's not dependent on anyone's attention to feel strong. That's the real power of no contact. It makes you unshakable, and women can't ignore a man who holds that kind of frame.